Hello and welcome everyone to Frontier Africa Reports, day four of the Inter-Africa Trade Fair 2021 here in Durban, South Africa. I am Bosin Omofaye. Of course, Nigeria's day today for the conference. But first, let's take you through what is one main aspect of the summit for this edition that has been discussed, and that has to do with the subnationals. That was a bit of a bringing these various state government, provincial and municipalities and municipals and all of that into the conversation of intra-Africa trade. It's expanding the conversation by Afrexim Bank, by the Iatf, to see that the conversation, the discussion around what needs to be done to get intra-Africa trade investments in the markets up and running and expanded will have to deal more than the sovereigns, but also at the subnationals level. So today we've seen a couple of presentations by those who were selected to attend from Kenya, from here in South Africa, the host country. A couple of hours ago, one of the southwestern states in Nigeria, Ogun State, held his investors briefing and kind of a networking. Ogun State, which is in southwest, next to Lagos State, which is Nigeria's economic nerve center, is looking to position itself as an industrial hub. If you look at some of the biggest names in Nigeria's fast-moving consumer goods companies are based in Ogun State, which is just next door to Lagos. So in terms of, again, the seaports and the whole market that exists for these FMCGs and others, pharmaceuticals and all of that in Ogun State, that was presented today. The governor of Ogun State joined the virtually from the state capital, and he briefed the Nigeria's Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Otumba Adebayo, as well as the president of Nigeria's Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, as well as the head of the Nigeria Export Promotion Council, about how Ogun State is presenting itself as an investment and industrial hub for Nigeria. That's part of the subnationals making presentations here. What we've seen over the last couple of days is a few other state governments in Nigeria, like Abia State, are also talking about how they're positioning their state government to be part of the Pan-African trade roads, trade relations now being reopened and re-energized under the IATF and by extension, Afrexim Bank. I spoke a few hours ago with the president of Afrexim Bank, Dr. Benedict Orama, and he spoke about further funding, trade facility financing for manufacturers, for companies under the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, as well as for SMEs. For small and medium enterprises, he says the Afrexim Bank is planning to launch a new venture capital fund for small and medium enterprises to enable them secure the necessary capital and financing that is going to be easier and faster and all of that package for them to enhance their industrial manufacturing activities, light manufacturing across the various sector. He also told me in that exclusive interview by Dr. Orama, head of Afrexim Bank, that there will be additional funding for Nigeria's businesses between now and the end of the first quarter of 2022. And he says Afrexim Bank's exposure, a balance sheet exposure to Nigeria will continue to expand because of the strategic nature of Nigeria in terms of this demography and size within the sub-Saharan African space. For the rest of the fourth day, which is today, has to do with a number of other deals being signed. We've seen about $5 billion and still counting. Another $1 billion transaction done with Afrexim Bank today in Nigeria's exploration and production industry, which is the hydrocarbon oil and gas industry, also done today. So over the last few days, we've seen this steady day by day transactions being conducted. The entire portfolio that Afrexim Bank has on the table is about $40 billion US, putting all this to support Africa as the continent looks to emerge and re-energize itself out of the pandemic that was 2020 and still hanging around the global economies and the continent in terms of infestations, in terms of the footprint, in terms of the vaccinations and all of that is ongoing. So it's been a very interesting fourth day. Then we'll talk about a few other industries. There were project exposures today across the automotive sector, cosmetics, fashion industry, agriculture. All of these continue to be exposed today on the fourth day. But as I said earlier, one key focus for me for today's part of this 1 week long event here in Durban is bringing the subnationals, the state governments, the municipals and those provinces into the conversation. Again, if you look at what the Ogun State governor said earlier, look, if you wanted to do business in Nigeria, anyway, you've got to go down to the various communities and areas where you need state governments, you need local governments, you need to do business. So there's a need to expand the conversation about intra-Africa trade, the AFCFTA, not just around the sovereigns, but also the subnationals. And this looks like a very good one, bringing them into focus, into the wider conversation and action plans and policies that we need to do moving forward under the new intra-African trade called the AFCFTA. So as we begin to wrap up over the next 1 day, 2 days, in the manner of speaking, some of these conversations will need to go a whole lot more forward beyond what we've just done here, with deals to be made, with transactions being sealed. But the key point we're taking away from this this edition is the single voice in which African leaders are talking about the removing of neocolonialism, removing those hurdles and obstacles to intra-Africa trade, having joint projects, making sure that policies and actions are regional and integration in nature rather than one man go alone. So African leaders are talking about going together in terms of social, economic development and building bridges across borders that will help the continent move beyond where it is now. I am Bosin Amofaye for Frontier Africa Reports. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow.